All right, event number 3 is something called the Dred Scott decision. This happens in 1857. Dred Scott was a slave. He lived in Missouri, which was a slave state. But his owner left Missouri and went to Illinois and Wisconsin, which were both free states. And so Dred Scott decided that he was going to sue his owner for his freedom. Basically, his argument was, hey, I can't be a slave in a free state. So if I am in a free state, I should be free. So he based a lot of his argument on the idea of the Missouri Compromise. And so this court case made it all the way to the Supreme Court. And here's the thing. He lost. He lost this argument. Again, his basic argument is, if I am living in a free state, I cannot be a slave. That's the base of his argument. So here's what the Supreme Court said. The Supreme Court said that slaves are property. Once you're a slave, you're property. And that property can't sue in court. So let's compare a slave to a car, right? My car is my car. It can't sue me for not giving it shelter in a garage, right? It can't sue me. So they're equating the Supreme Court of the United States in 1857 with the Dred Scott decision is declaring that slaves are equal to property. So whatever we consider property to be, a house, a wagon, a cow, whatever, they are equating slaves to that. So they go on further and they declare that the Missouri Compromise is unconstitutional because it denied the people in that land north of the 3630 parallel the right to own property, in this case slaves. So they say, sorry, Mr. Dred Scott, you can't sue because you are property. And as a matter of fact, you know what? We as a country can't deny people the right to own property. That's called due process, right? And so we can't deny them that. And we are. This law called the Missouri Compromise is denying them that right. So we got to throw that out. Okay? They base that decision of throwing out the Missouri Compromise based on the Fifth Amendment. So the Fifth Amendment says that you cannot be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. It's stated there, and that the court says it's stated there. We've created this law that goes against that, and it's the court's job to uphold the Constitution, right? The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. So what the Constitution says overrules what the law says. So in this case, the Fifth Amendment is more important than the Missouri Compromise. So we're going to kick it out. All right. So when the Supreme Court makes this decision, basically what they're saying is that the courts are going to uphold and protect the institution of slavery, that the United States government views slaves as property, and that because they are property, we cannot restrict where people do and do not own slaves. So it's getting a little dicey, right, with this decision that basically says that the courts are going to uphold the idea of slaves as being property. So the South really liked this decision, right? It upholds their beliefs and supports their way of life. The North is exactly opposite. They view it as inhumane. They do not support this idea. So we are just inching closer, and that line between the North and the South and how they live and their cultural differences is growing every single day. So the Dred Scott decision is pushing that idea of sectionalism even more.